Ladies and gentlemen, approximately 15 years ago, when the hell of civil war broke out in Somalia, Canada very generously opened up its arms and embraced approximately 100,000 Somalis. Today, those Somalis are Somali Canadians, proud Canadians, and they have hundreds of thousands of family ties and friendships that reach back into their ancestral homeland. Without really knowing about it, we've developed a special relationship based not on trade, but on those human relations between our two countries. Today, Somali Canadians are in anguish as they hear what's taking place in East Africa. Now, there's a number of countries affected by this drought over the past 3 months. Somalia is a particular situation. In Somalia, you do not have a stable central government. Because of the security concerns, you don't have the same network of NGOs that you have in the other affected countries. And we do have this special relationship with Somalia. We've seen the drought become a crisis over the last 3 months. Over the past few weeks, we now see the beginnings of a humanitarian disaster. We'd hate to think that in the coming weeks, we'll see a humanitarian catastrophe. Canada must step forward. The government of Canada has to step forward substantively. The World Food Program has just recently called for $574 million in food aid. Only about a third of that has been covered. I believe that the Canadian government can find the generosity to step forward and at least say that it'll be able to cover off the humanitarian requirements for Somalia. And there's a second component, a very important role that Canada can play. There's the looming humanitarian disaster, but there's also a long-term solution in Somalia, and it's a political solution. There's a transitional federal government. There's real hope for peace and reconciliation, and that government is meeting today, the Parliament, for the first time. It's a historic day in the history of Somalia. We can help that government during this transitionary period. The Canadian government should step forward to help the humanitarian crisis at this point in time and develop a blueprint to help the Somali transitional federal government. Let's do this now before we see emaciated children, as was mentioned, children with extended bellies on the front pages of our newspapers. Thank you.
Thank you, Boris. We will hear next from former parliamentarian